Hello, Mbula, Nwaya, and welcome. This is Mapa here, your blooming trailblazer, planting seeds of faith, growth, and generational blessing. So, tonight's theme, as you can see, um, bloom where you're planted. So, that's basically going to be our, our live chat for tonight, and the it's something that's close to my heart. um, you know, bloom where you're planted. And because life doesn't always place us in perfect soil, it is so true. But you know what? God does promise that um, with faith, courage, and action, we can bloom anywhere. So, you know, um, let me just many of you know my story, but I'm gonna just share. um, I'm a return from Fiji, originally from Fiji, a nurse, a mom, a grandma, an immigrant here in the United States. So I'm currently here in Fairbanks, Alaska. And like many of you, I've worked in places where soil felt hard, new country, new responsibilities, night shifts, um, trying to build a retirement after 13 years with nothing to show. And so, but here's what I've learned. Growth doesn't wait for those perfect conditions. Growth happens when you decide to bloom. So everything comes back to you or to me as an individual. Everything starts from us. So growth happens when you decide to bloom, making that decision. This business, really, it came at a time I was praying for a way to build a future or build my retirement fund, not just for me, but for my children and grandchildren. And yes, when I said yes, I realized something powerful. Um, your growth becomes something else, someone else's hope. I like to say this because it really, I didn't realize that until having to start this business and just seeing that my growth becomes someone else's hope. Because as I share the the growth, as I share my story, um, it many have been inspired by it, and they reach out and ask. But I've just learned to take those uh, challenges into the soil for growth. And so that is my next the next thing I want to share is that every challenge you've survived. Yes. And every sacrifice you've made, every season that stretched you, wasn't meant to break you. So that is how I look at it. Um, that every soil that every challenge, every challenges into soil for growth, and that is every challenge you've survived. I like to say this again: every sacrifice you've made, every season that stretched you, wasn't meant to break you. It was meant to plant you. So maybe you feel too busy, too scared of the unknown, too overwhelmed by work, too unsure about business, too comfortable where you are. And but let me tell you something. I was there once. The soil does not have to be perfect for the seed to be powerful. You just need to start. And just taking back, I'm just taking back, thinking of when I started, like trying. I never used to plant. I never had a green thumb, but I decided to make use of the backyard. and plant. And, I was surprised at how it turned out. And maybe because I was reading instructions, maybe, and I did get advice from my other colleagues who have been planting, vegetables and flowers for a very long time. And I just had to try. And, I'm just thinking back of doing that. And now I'm more into vegetable gardening. So, yes, so here's the thing, going back to our Go Live today. Um, why your yes matters, or why my yes mattered, why I said yes to this digital business. When here's the thing, when you rise, you inspire a generation behind you. So that is why um, I realized that, even though it was totally something different, even my family was, they were surprised that I wanted to start a digital business, something that was totally, different from me being a nurse, and that is all I knew. And when I do this, um, it's, when you do this, your children is watching, your grandchildren are watching, your community is watching, and your yes might be the permission someone else needs to say. So that's the thing. If and then when you tell yourself, if she can do it, I can do it too. And that's what I told myself. You're not just building income, you're building a legacy, time freedom, and generational change. And that was something that really grounded me right from the start, because I knew I was building something that is generational, something that can be passed on. My career, my profession, I cannot pass that on. But yes, something like a digital business that will continue to grow can be passed on. And so let me ask you this. Here's a question for us. What's holding you back from saying yes to the opportunity that could bless generations after you? Maybe fear, maybe time, maybe doubt, or maybe you're waiting for that perfect moment. But perfect moments don't always create legacies. And, you know, waiting for that perfect moment, it may never happen. It may not, and like I said, those moments don't create legacies. Courage does. Taking bold steps, taking a leap of faith, and coming out of your comfort zone. It takes courage to do that. And so, um, if something in you is saying, I was created for more, listen to that voice. Your future is calling, your family's breakthrough is calling. If you're curious, message me. If you're ready, come join our global community of real families changing their stories, real people, real stories, real um, real people and real stories. And it is really not an overnight thing, but with purpose, support, and faith, you can do this. So, as an islander, as a Rutuman, as a parent, or even an immigrant, we know what it means to build from the ground up. It really took me back to my humble beginning and having to support family and having to sacrifice a lot of things. Those are the times that you know I understood building the ground up, and but God rewards the ones who plant, water, and trust Him with the growth. And that was what I did. I jumped right in, took that leap of faith, and before you know it, I'm doing these go lives and creating contents on the things that I value, that I hope is inspiring you in your journey. And so, like I said, God rewards the ones who plant, water, and trust Him with the growth. So here's the thing: bloom where you're planted. It could be where, wherever you are. Sometimes we question ourselves, like, why am I here? Why has God put me here? Or why did I come to, why do I come to this place? There is always a reason for that. And remember, your growth is someone else's hope. And I truly believe that, when you rise, you give others permission to believe they can too. Just this evening, we had our small group business Zoom, and I was asked to share about how I am doing in my business, and it just shared from my heart. I didn't prepare a slide, but I believe that what I had to share was something that came from the heart, something that is working for me, and sharing to other business partners that they can do as well, and how they can grow their business through that. And that's the beauty of it. You're not just doing it for yourself. There are others that grow alongside you, and it's just being generous about the things that you do, even in this business, sharing what works for you, and others can borrow that in their and do it in their own authentic way. And I have learned that that is a big thing here, is just being generous with your knowledge, the things that you know, because others will grow as well when you share it. And so I hope that I truly thank those of you who are listening to me tonight. I'm I know that you're here for a reason, and maybe it's something that I'm sharing here that that you need to hear, or that someone who needs to hear this. And I'm just thankful that I get to share this, because it is something that I believe many needs to hear, that you can always have a plan B. And so that we have come to the end of my Go Live today. I hope that whatever I've shared today is helping you, is encouraging you. And I do appreciate those of you who are listening to me right now, or who will be watching the replay. Share it with someone you know who needs to hear this. It is for anyone and everyone who is looking for that change, who is looking for that opportunity. And so that is all from me. I hope you have a blessed, wonderful rest of your evening, day, whatever time zone you're watching me from. Vinaka, Foyexia, and God bless.